Hey, welcome to Dripping Stone Podcast, the podcast where two friends raise a glass and have a conversation. I'm Nick.
I'm Kyle.
Kyle, you made me laugh.
Sorry.
No, that was okay. We were doing a video for the thingy.
Yeah.
And you were
doing really excited.
You were doing all kinds of like jazz hands over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm just checking.
Yeah, no. In case of emergency, jazz hands.
It's got to go on a t-shirt.
I think that's the thing, right?
I mean, if it isn't, it is now. It definitely is now.
I think I've seen that on like a warning sign of like
where
it's like somebody like falling, they're slipping, but like their like hands are like up. So it's like, oh man, you may slip and fall and have jazz hands.
Are you saying like
Heads
on
up.
one of those like weird like yellow coney things after someone like mops?
Totally.
Okay.
Heads up, slippery.
Jazz hands.
You never know.
Okay. Well, hey, on that note, you want to drink something?
Yeah, it's probably time.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about jazz hands already.
Or maybe four somethings.
I'm excited about this, honestly.
What you got over here?
Well, we have a little bit of a tasting situation going on here.
Sick.
Yeah, and I found this at a local liquor store that's going to remain unnamed.
Remain a name.
Yeah.
Rename a main.
But we have, I mean, I'm going to do this gesture, but simply for the Tic Tacs.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
We have the Benriach, actually a little kind of taster pack. And I'm going to give you some more information. But we've got 4 little 50 ml taster bottles. And we've talked about this before. Like, this is something that I hope more distilleries do.
Indeed.
And I found a distillery that was doing it. It was at a local liquor store. They had a quick little taster pack. It was on sale.
Gotcha.
And I was like, we're doing that because we've talked about it. And I don't think either one of us have had the Benriach.
Well, and completely agree with 1,000 things that you just said.
Thank you.
100%. Like, that's what they should do.
Wait. Is it 1,000 or 100? I need to know.
I 1,000% agree with 100 things you just said.
Okay, good.
So they need to do more of that where you could get, here's our main, what do they call it? Our
lineup, our collection?
portfolio,
Oh,
whatever.
That's good.
Here's our signature brands.
Ooh.
Try these.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of know where you land. Oh, nope, that's my favorite one.
Right.
So now I want to go buy a 750 of that.
Exactly.
Because that's great.
Exactly. And I feel like, I don't know, like from
And if you're good at your shit, you like all of them. So you go buy all of them.
Correct. I understand both perspectives. I understand our perspective of like, just give me 50 mils and let me see if I like it first.
Sure.
But I also understand the company perspective of like, nah, we're like,
You want to try it?
Yeah, we're creating all this stuff. Exactly. Because we can charge you way more for it. So
Sure.
I've got some, it came in this like cool little box.
Well, and can I say, like, I feel like Benriach has...
Benriach.
Benriach. I feel like Benriach has become more visible.
Oh, yeah.
At least
in
here
the last,
in
I would say
Central Florida.
Yeah, in the last
past
6 months, maybe a year.
year or so.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm starting to notice it quite a bit more.
Same here. So the versions out of this tasting collection,
Yep.
it gives me notes on each of them.
Sick.
But it's the original 10, the Smokey 10, the 12, and the Smokey 12.
Gotcha.
So their baseline product is the Benriach 10 year.
Gotcha.
Okay. So I'm going to read a little bit of box words for you. A Speyside single malt Scotch whiskey as intriguing and extraordinary as Benriach could not have come to be without a unique whiskey-making heritage dating from 1898 when founder John Duff built his distillery. Ruggedly beautiful, Benriach stands on the site of the old Riach farm in North Speyside, drawing water from a mineral-rich aquifer deep beneath the distillery. Thanks to a long-standing tradition of distilling 3 styles of whiskey, classic unpeated, Highland peated, and triple distilled, together with an eclectic selection of casks from around the world, our whiskey makers are able to explore the full flavor possibilities of single malt, creating some of the richest, most multi-layered whiskeys in Speyside. The tradition continues, Kyle. They actually say Kyle on this. It's kind of weird.
Wow.
I know. Under the guidance of master blender Dr. Rachel Berry.
Rachel Berry?
Yeah.
From Glee?
Sure.
Sorry.
Benriach is the story of a hidden Speyside gem, quietly revealing its treasures to be discovered and savored.
Mm.
Can I ask you a question?
What's that?
Are you ready to discover and savor?
Hell yeah.
Okay. So like we said, we've got four, Kyle, different versions here. We've got the original 10, the Smokey 10, the 12, and the Smokey 12.
Sick.
So let me ask you this.
Yep.
How do we do this?
I think we go 10.
Yeah.
and then we go 12.
Okay, but do you go 10, 12, Smokey 10, Smokey 12?
Nah, I think we go 10 and Smokey 10.
Okay.
And then we go 12 and Smokey 12.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I got an idea.
Okay.
Let's do this. How about we do 10, Smokey 10, talk a little bit.
Yeah.
12, Smokey 12.
All right.
You want to do that? You want to break it up that way?
I like it.
That way we let our palates kind of acclimate after that Smokey.
Sure.
So we can kind of come back to the regular 12. What?
I don't know. I don't know if I like it. Now I'm thinking.
No, well, you tell me what you want to do.
I don't know, because now I'm kind of thinking like, well, it'd be kind of cool to be able to like compare the original 10 to the 12 without the smoke presence.
That was my original idea.
Maybe we'll go to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we go 10, 12.
Yeah.
And then Smokey 10, Smokey 12.
I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now that we've got some things sorted.
Yeah.
We're going 10, 12.
I like it.
Smoky 10.
Yeah.
Smoky 12.
Yeah.
But
That's the wiser thing.
let's do this, though. Let's save just a bit.
Yeah.
And then we can compare.
To be yeah. Talk to everything.
Yeah, for sure.
I like it.
All right. Here we go. I opened it. Did you hear it?
I heard it. Crickety crack. Back fat.
I'm going to pour it. A one for you and a one for me. Here's what I like about these little 50 mils.
Yeah.
It gives you literally just enough.
Yeah.
Just enough to taste.
2 good pours.
Yeah. It's a taster pour. You don't need a full Glencairn.
Should we pour them both?
What?
Should we have them both already going?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I think it's good. Done and done.
All right. So we got the 10 and 12. Ooh.
10 and 12.
Not a whole lot more on the bottle itself, other than it does say that these are 3 cask matured. Did we say that when we read it?
Mm-mm.
I don't feel like we read that.
Mm-mm.
What?
3 cask maturation, and sherry, bourbon, and... No, this is sherry, bourbon, and port wood.
Whoa. Okay.
That one was sherry, bourbon, and virgin.
Okay. They all say 3 cask matured.
Yeah.
The 10-year says it is matured in bourbon, sherry, and virgin oak.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. The 12 adds in port. So the 3 casks are sherry, bourbon, and port.
Port instead of the virgin oak.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We won't read any of the tasting notes on the box. Let's just get into it. 10-year first.
10 year.
Swirly swirl.
Little lighter than the 12.
It is.
12 has a shade or 2 on it.
Just a hair.
Yeah.
Just a hair.
Well, yeah, just a...
I would say golden. Golden, maybe like light honey, like watered down honey.
Yeah. In that ballpark.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's nice. Ooh. ABV?
Can we assume it's 80?
It is not. It is 86.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
43% ABV.
Boom shakalaka. It's a very cereally nose.
Yeah. Odie. Like
Yeah.
Honey Nut Cheerios.
Yeah. I'm wanting to go like all things like cereal. Like
Yep.
toasted mini wheats.
Ooh.
Or like just shredded wheat.
Yeah, I was going to say shredded wheat with some honey. That honey note is really pronounced to me.
Yeah. Honey forward.
Yeah, like I'm saying like you cracked open one of those bears and just poured it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Winnie the Pooh got nothing on this.
Oh, man. That's delightful.
That's a good nose.
It's got a little bit of proof. There's some like nice florally notes too.
Yeah. Very
Ooh.
aromatic.
Not perfumey. Like I feel like when we say perfumey, it's like that like a little bit of fake, but it's just like really floral to me. But there's a little bit of like dank too. I get the dank on like the back end of the
Can't
nose.
say dank.
But what I mean by dank, I don't mean like dank like hoppy dank.
Right.
I mean like dank like old barrel dank. Not moldy, but like you walked into like, I don't know, maybe like a barn that's got like some leaking issues. Like,
Moldy hay.
maybe. Yeah, that's not bad. But it's not off-putting in any way.
Sure.
It's just like wet hay.
There's something like in my nose that's making me say sour.
Absolutely.
But I don't necessarily register that on the nose.
Yeah.
But it's just like something about it's making me think like
Same.
twinge.
Same.
You know,
Same. And
kind of thing.
maybe like it's just registering as like danky.
Yeah.
But like sour makes sense. Like, it reminds me like you ever wash a load of laundry and like you left it in there and you're like, oh, dang it.
Yeah.
You open it. It doesn't smell bad.
Dank it.
It's just, it doesn't smell bad. It just smells like,
Whoops.
yeah,
It's
I got to
not gonna
re
be as fresh.
Yeah. Or like I should rewash these.
I should.
Or you're like,
but
exactly.
I'm a dude.
I just throw extra dry sheets in there. It'd be all right.
Yeah. For sure.
All right. I'm going in.
Yeah.
Enough sniffing.
I need this on my tongue.
Time for sipping.
Like beat for beat, nose and palate match.
Exactly the same. Exactly the same. Okay, real quick. Last week's West Cork,
Yep.
I could characterize as being watery. This thick.
Yeah.
We go back
this,
to thick.
This has got that, much more oily,
Viscous, clingy. Yeah.
All right, so everything that's on the nose is on the palate, but it's a shift in volume. Whereas it is like that honey cereal-y thing that I think on the nose is so balanced, but on the palate, to me, is completely shifted. You get a little bit of the cereal, but it's like dominantly honey.
Yeah, dominantly honey. And I'm getting like just slight pepper. Dominantly honey, honey, back end pepper. Not the back of my palate, back end of the drink.
It's delightful.
To me, it also screams Space-Age Scotch.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
There's it's really well rounded. All the notes, like you said, the notes match almost beat for beat, just tilted.
Yeah.
That's quite good.
Yeah.
All right, you want to pop on over to 12?
Okay.
All right, 2 more years, but a different maturation,
Yeah, so we're adding in port.
which could account for the color.
Yeah, for sure. Could shift it. I snuck a nose in.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
A whole nose or half a nose?
Just a whiff,
Oh.
but really enjoyed it.
Oh.
It was a good whiff.
Well, we haven't talked about, well, we did talk about the color, so I don't feel bad.
Damn.
Okay. All right. Ready? We jump up just a bit in proof.
Yep.
This is 46, so 92 proof. We go from 86 to 92. Just a bit of
No
a rise.
shit.
Yeah.
It's all the way
said
up to
that.
92?
I said that earlier. Wow. Yeah. The regular 10 is 86. Everything else is 92. Even the Smokey 10 is 92.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Oh, before we move on, now that we kind of already have, do you want me to read the tasting notes from the box?
Oh.
No, I want to read the tasting notes from the box.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not going to read the tasting notes from the 12. I just want to read the 10.
Yep.
Orchard fruit, honey sweetness, rich vanilla, and mellow oak spice.
Agreed on all accounts. I think we mentioned all those except vanilla.
Yeah. Did we say fruity? I agree with it. I don't know if we said it.
Yeah, maybe we didn't say actual fruit,
Okay.
the word, but it was in there.
We said aromatic.
Yeah, I think it applies.
Okay, but on the 12,
Yeah.
it is apple. To me, I just get like apple.
Yeah. Bright red apple.
Yeah, apple juice
Yeah.
with proof.
And it really is like I get everything from the 10-year in this.
Oh yeah.
But it just adds in that appley
Yep.
port.
I was gonna say it's
finish.
the port. Like
Yeah.
I get, and I've had actually a little bit of port wine.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
Wow.
I know. I do like it.
Stunning.
I know. Thank you. Spagliato with prosecco.
Stunning.
Oh yeah. No, you definitely get like the port wine,
That's crazy.
because port wine is a fortified wine.
Yeah.
So it's wine with another distillate added to fortify it.
Right.
And it's sweet and it's grape forward and it tends to be.
Yeah. There's a red wine.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love that nose.
Yeah. Just a touch.
Man,
of like a Merlot.
that is
or something.
fantastic.
That's fun.
That is a fantastic nose. Call it a day. Like I don't need to sip it. I'm going to.
Yeah. No, I couldn't call it on that.
Oh, all right. Enough sniffing.
Yep.
Time for sipping. Now that's interesting because that appley note gone on the palate.
Yeah. It's still very fruity, but you couldn't pinpoint it as apple.
No, on the nose, apple.
Yeah.
With a capital A.
Yeah.
On the palate, gone.
Yeah. More of a grapey,
Mm-hmm.
raspberry.
Oh, raspberry's
Maybe.
good.
Yeah.
I'm also getting this like dusty leather note or like dusty bookshop on the back end, just right before the proof sneaks in there.
Man, that's fun. Even it's got a little alcohol bite
Mm-hmm.
on the back of it. But yeah, no, it that's remarkable. Like everything that's here is still in this. Everything that's in the 10 still in the 12.
Absolutely.
It's just wrapped around with this like red berry note.
Yep.
That's encircling all of it, and just a little bit of a proof pop.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it the 12 over the 10.
Yeah.
Like it's as good as the 10 is,
Yeah.
which I quite like. 12 over the 10.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say slightly because of the proof, not really because of the palate, because the palate's basically the same to me. Like there's not a whole lot of difference between the palate, but it's the nose. The nose on this is fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, I'd give it on the palate too. Like I
think so?
like that red berry note. That's fucking delightful. That's good. I like it.
Capital fuck.
Yeah. Fucking
Yeah.
Uh,
All right.
that's good.
That
was really good.
I'm going to say this. I came into this with zero expectations
Sure.
because I've done no research. I've had no Benriach products. I've seen it like we talked about at the top of the episode, but I've not pulled the trigger on anything.
Yep.
And not for any particular reason other than like it's most scotches these days just kind of have like general labeling. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
And there's is.
Yeah.
It is very simplified. There's nothing
the thing.
flashy.
Right.
It is very kind of restrained.
Correct. And so I'm like, not that there's nothing wrong with that, but like I'm not drawn to it in any particular way. Would you like to hear the tasting notes officially on the 12th?
Certainly.
All right. They say baked fruit, maple honey sweetness, and a lingering oak spice.
Sure.
Yeah. Oak spice. I like that.
Yep.
I like that.
Yeah. Oak spice.
Oak spice.
Okay. All right. So we've got the Benriach.
Yeah.
You ever Benriach?
Once or twice.
I'm currently Benriaching right now, and it's fantastic. I'm all for it. But we've got our Benriach. We're going to take a pause halfway through our tasting. We're going to talk about what would you like to talk about?
I would, something that's kind of on the national conversation or part of the national conversation right now. Normally we don't.
Sure.
I will say we don't. We tend not to like jump on national hype things very often.
Sure.
But this is something I'm interested in. And this is something that I think we're both interested in. And we have been for quite some time. Off the pod, we've talked a little bit on the pod. And that is the NFL. In terms of violence in football. And I recognize saying that. Like some people are like, fuck y'all, I'm out. No, the Drippin' Stoners would never do that. They're like, okay, we're with you. What's going to happen? What I mean by this is I'm interested in how we as people who like sports, as a nation who reveres sports, who puts athletes on a pedestal, how we're kind of collectively dealing with an incident that happened a couple of weeks ago in terms of the recording. So when this episode comes out, almost a month ago at this point, and that is Damar Hamlin basically dying on the football field on national television.
Yeah, for sure. Like, had to be revived.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hard to watch.
Yeah, very hard to watch.
Actually, at this point, like, I haven't even watched it.
I watched it.
Didn't
like,
see it.
And to be like full disclosure, I'm not someone who generally watches much football. Like, I'll watch a game here or there. I'll see what the Tampa Bay Tom Brady's are doing. I might, care a little bit, but I'll watch the Super Bowl as like, a lot of people do. But I would not call myself a football fan.
Sure.
I will call myself a casual viewer.
There you go.
But when I saw that trending on the social medias, I was like, what's going on? And I watched the video. Like, I was like, oh my God.
Right.
Like, we saw this dude. I mean, we didn't know at the time, like when the play happened, which we'll pause and we'll talk about that. But like, we didn't know what was going on at the time, but like watching the video, it is tough to watch.
Yeah.
So I want to bring that up with regard to Hamlin himself and that a little bit, but I want to talk about like how do we engage in like a national conversation, because that's like I said, that's on a lot of people's mind right now in regards to a sport that is what most people would say is incredibly violent. And how do we start to kind of deal with those things?
Obviously, like, safety within sports has, over the past decade, really come to the forefront of every sport.
Absolutely.
Of how can we make this as safe as possible?
Right.
I think football specifically has the difficulty of being a very violent sport.
Correct.
As it's set up, that player safety is very much a tightrope of how do we protect our players, but still give the fans what they're here to see.
Right.
We grew up in an era where you could order the greatest hits.
Oh yeah.
Here's a VHS of the worst, like, head removing, helmet crunching hits,
brutal NFL hits.
Yeah, of the last decade.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, that's where it was.
Yeah.
That used to be absolutely celebrated.
Yep.
And I think within the culture it still is.
Sure.
It's just you can't promote it that way anymore.
Right. Well, okay. real quick, I think that within the last, let's say, decade, maybe 15 years, there has been a pretty palpable shift from that kind of thing of like rip his head off to like do that, but do it in a way that's as safe as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I don't watch the NFL.
Right.
And I don't know the NFL's rulings on that sort of thing. So
Sure.
I'm going to come at it from the college perspective.
Sure.
Which within the past few years, the big thing has been targeting.
Right.
And the targeting rule and how that's entered into the conversation and now how it's being tweaked in use of it.
Yeah.
It's not as kind of black and white as it initially was.
Sure.
If it was called, it was upheld. It didn't matter. It was just how it was. And now they'll review it and kind of look at it and decide, was that really targeting? Was it not really targeting?
Well, can you explain that a little bit before we go back? Because I want to talk about like the inciting incident for this conversation. But what is that targeting rule, real quick?
The targeting rule in college is it's a rule where a player hits a defenseless player.
Interesting.
With the intent of harm, more or less. Where they're, some of the key things that they're looking at are, do they lead with the crown of the helmet?
Right.
Are they spearing
Correct.
the player?
Okay.
Is it helmet to helmet contact first? Are you leading with the shoulder? Do they leave the ground on the hit? Are they literally like trying to make themselves a projectile? These are all kinds of things that they're looking at, and then there becomes a lot of nuance of which player is being hit.
Right.
A running back is prepared. They have the ball. They're looking to move forward, so they're not necessarily seen as defenseless.
Okay.
Whereas like it's more so for like a quarterback who's in the process of throwing the ball, they're defenseless. They're not looking to protect themselves in any way. They're trying to complete the play. Or a wide receiver that's looking to catch the ball. They're not, again, they're defenseless in that aspect. So it's removing those hits on a player that is not prepared to take the hit, that they're really looking to protect in that instance of targeting.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's take a step back real quick and let's talk about the inciting incident for this conversation, kind of like, again, the national conversation. And that is an NFL game between the Bills and the Bengals at Cincinnati. A player, Damar Hamlin, takes a pretty, what most would consider an innocuous hit. And the dude gets up, stands up, and immediately just drops. And if you're someone who watches football, that happens, but not in this way.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not encouraging people to watch a video because it's tough to watch. But he's part of the play. He's part of action of play. He's hit, but it's nothing that would make someone go like, ooh. There was no like, ooh moment.
Right.
And he stands up and then just collapses.
Yeah.
And so in that case, like that is not a violent thing. So like, while that is the inciting incident for this conversation and for the national conversation, that's not really like the violence of the game in action. That to me, and again, like I'm not a football expert, but that is a fluke thing that happened to a guy and it's tragic. And it's like, God, I wish that didn't happen. But what is coming out of that is this kind of conversation on a lot of different scales.
Yeah. And it's ironic too, because like so often you see videos and things like, especially nowadays within the NFL of like their protection of the quarterbacks.
Yep.
Like you see so many videos where people are making fun of the fact of like how they'll throw pass interference, or not pass interference, but like roughing the quarterback or those kind of penalties against a defense when it's really not any kind of a rough hit or anything like that.
Right.
But then you have instances like this where it's like, yeah, but like clearly safety has to be the priority for everything.
Correct. So I will say
the dichotomy of that
and
is such a hard thing to like understand.
And I think it goes back to that, like, again, this is a violent sport. Like there's no getting around that.
Yeah.
This is a violent sport. This is what the debate, like, I mean, it can get into a lot of nuances, but like this is what these dudes sign up for. Like you are playing a violent sport. You know the inherent risks of a violent sport. And yet I contend, somewhere like, again, I think that we might want to touch on is how do you deal with a violent sport in the safest manner possible?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's the conversation that a lot of people are thinking about, or those are the arguments that a lot of people are thinking about.
Right.
Everyone knows this is violent.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, off the pod, we talked about, NASCAR.
Right.
People don't watch NASCAR to watch cars go around the track.
Yeah. Yeah. If nobody ever had any kind of incidents and all 42 cars finished the race, yawn.
There are 42 cars in
Or 43.
I
42, 43.
I have no idea.
Usually.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're there to watch crashes. Like,
Yeah.
that's what we want to
Well,
see.
yeah. I mean, that's the attention grabber, and
Exactly.
look at the highlights of a NASCAR race. What do they highlight?
Right.
They highlight the wrecks. Those are the things that happen throughout the race, and then they'll show the guy that won.
Right.
You know?
Well, and same thing, watch the highlights of a game. They'll show touchdown, big hit.
Right.
Big hit, touchdown, celebration, big hit.
Yeah.
And like, watch this cool play, big hit. And like, but then it becomes a conversation of like, sure, but what are those hits worth?
Right.
And any sane, I think, human would be like, it's not worth a life for sure. And yet, again, these are things that collectively we have agreed upon that this is okay. And these, at this point, men who are playing this game have signed up for to some degree.
Right.
So, like, I guess my question to you and maybe to everybody else listening too is like, so how do we reconcile the violence of the game with the love of the game?
That's tough. Like, I've never played the game.
Right.
Like, yeah, I've gone out and like thrown football and played like touch football or flag football, but like I've never been involved in like full contact.
Yeah, me neither.
So like it was just never anything of interest of me. So I don't know. That is a hard reconciliation. Like, I'm sure for these guys, for a lot of them, like compensation is like a driving force.
Sure.
For participation in the game. Like you're getting paid well, but that aspect of what is this doing to me physically, hopefully is a major concern for all of them.
Yeah. Well, and I've read a lot lately of like, well, look at some of these quarterbacks. I mean, Tom Brady is what, 45, 46, something like that. Aaron Rodgers ain't no spring chicken either.
Right.
And then like, yes, you do have like, those are kind of anomalies, and you do have like the majority of the field being less than 30 for
Right.
sure.
Right.
But you have these people who are, they're up there in age, but the majority of these players are quite young, less than 30 years old.
Right.
And I read something like the average career of an NFL player is something like 2.5 years.
Right.
Like, just because, I mean, a lot of factors, sure. But, some of it is injury and like just the nature of the game being so physically demanding as well.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely devastating, for Hamlin and everybody that was there and everybody that was like on the field, like
everybody who's watching,
the fear that must be involved for everyone. That's tough.
Yeah.
And like nothing but compassion to that instance.
Absolutely.
I think that's got to be any athlete's like greatest fear of either watching an opponent or even like having a teammate or like just seeing somebody fall on the field of play.
Yep.
Because ultimately that's what it is. It's a game.
It's a game.
And and it shouldn't, ever get to that point where like these are the results of what we're doing here.
Or we care more about the score than we care about that dude's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, there's been a lot of controversy over comments that people have made of like they can't believe like that they postponed that game or called that game, like the game should have continued. I don't know. I mean that's certainly not for me to say, but like I'm glad that they did. This was kind of a monumental, certainly to look at, see how it's grasped everyone's attention. Absolutely, like I think good on them that they were like, hey, whoa, this is bigger than a game.
Yeah. Well,
regardless of how much money is involved in each one of these things.
Well, and let's be honest too, like when you have something like you said monumental like this, it invites a lot of opinions, ours included.
Sure.
In which, people who have little to no stake or have little to no really experience can comment on these things. But like you also mentioned, credit to in my mind, credit to NFL, credit to like definitely those first responders, athletic trainers, and all of those people on the field who like recognize, no, this is a thing. Like we're taking care of this now. But ultimately what it does is it incites that question. It incites those conversations around the worth of the thing. If I'm completely honest, I don't particularly think that like this is going to stop NFL. Like some people are like, this is the end of NFL. I don't think that's the case. I mean, first of all, it makes way too much money and people love it.
Yeah.
But it is the start of some really deep conversations about how we deal with these kinds of things. I mean, look at an Alabama alum, a Dolphins quarterback right now.
Tua Tagovailoa.
Say that again?
Tua Tagovailoa.
I was not going to try. I mean, a kid, I mean, dude's what, 24, 23, 24, something like that?
Yeah.
But let's, in my mind, a young adult who was put in a situation. I mean, he's got a franchise on his shoulders.
Yeah. On his left arm.
Correct. Was put in a situation where he unfortunately took a big hit and suffered concussion-like symptoms.
Yeah.
We'll say. I'm trying to be a little judicious.
Yeah.
Concussion-like symptoms.
Well, I mean, he had several entries in college that
Correct.
removed him from the field of play. That cost him playing time, several games worth.
Right.
So he's already dealt with injuries to that aspect.
Correct, and I want to get there too, but he suffered in terms of like this year.
Yeah,
he suffered an injury pretty early in this season.
Yeah,
where even if you've never watched,
clearly shaken.
Oh yeah, even if you've never watched a football game, you're looking at this person, you're like, something ain't right.
Yeah,
he's taken off. He's what seems to be examined.
Yeah,
and then he's sent back on.
Okayed to return.
I would say any rational person viewing the reaction of that person can tell something is off. Even if you don't know what concussions look like, you don't know what, quote unquote, big hits or like, bell rung or however you want to put that, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Goes out. Does he finish that game? I can't remember.
I think so.
Okay.
Like he comes out, but returns.
Yeah. Then in like the very next game.
Yeah. Takes
another huge hit and by all accounts, like basically seizes up on the field.
Yeah.
Like it is like gut wrenching to watch. And like, I don't know if you've ever seen someone have a seizure, but like, everything just tenses, like
hands.
Hands. And like he just, and it is scary.
Yeah.
And he's taken off the field. He doesn't come back in that game.
Right.
And it becomes like to me, you are a young man and you are clearly hurt and hurt in a way not like, yes, I haven't had a concussion, but I understand like there's so much, not only physical, but just like mental repercussions of that. And like to have two big incidents like that back to back, then it becomes a question of like, is it worth this?
There's a lot of zeros.
I get it.
Well, then, I mean, that's the answer to the question of why. Like, there's so much money riding on it.
Yeah.
That, like, yeah, I'd do it too. Like, if I could think about, like, that life-changing amount of money.
Sure.
Yeah, and this is the thing that, like, I've built my life around.
Right.
Like, this is my understanding of success, and this is the understanding of, like, every 2 a day that I've gone through in my life, and every, like, really shitty morning workout and waking up at 5 o'clock for every day since I was 12. Like, this is what it's about. Like, I'm here. I'm doing the thing. Like, yeah, like the mind warp of absolutely I'm going back in.
Right.
I'm sure is like, it's just what you know. Like, that's just your understanding of life.
This is the thing.
Yeah, I'm doing it. And like, screw my health and safety over it. Like, I'm here to do this. And I'm here to be great. I've heard how great I am my entire life, and now I'm finally to the point where I can, do the thing.
Right.
That's it. I can't imagine. Like, I mean, there was a point in time where I was, an athlete and was in sports and like had those lofty dreams of like, what if someday, So I can only imagine what it would be like to actually get there and still be doing the thing and be like, yeah, no, man, screw it. Like, safety becomes like the least of my concerns. Like, I'm doing the thing. I can't imagine like that kind of like, an understanding of what's in your mind. Your interpretation of the world at large is so different from your average person that, I think that's kind of easy to to grasp.
I mean, you're 100% right. When you think about the zeros and you think about like my whole life's led up to this, but maybe it's like from that, outside perspective looking in on it going like, yeah, but dude, is it worth it? And neither one of us have that experience of doing the college athlete, this has been my life for the last decade and or more.
Right.
It also, to me, becomes a huge question of the franchise as a whole and also the league as a whole going like, at what point do we step in and say, you're done for your longevity, for the longevity of this game, for the longevity of your well-being? Like, yeah, you've got all these zeros, but I mean, that's what I wrestle with, being on the outside, not being that player, not being in those situations and being close to that.
Right.
And like I've said, not even being, a hardcore fan by any means.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that there's a way to quantify that. Because, the teams obviously have invested in these players, so they have an interest in seeing them be on the field.
Right.
And if the person's willing, like who's the person to step in and say like, nah, man, this isn't good for you. I don't know. I don't know that there's a way to do that necessarily.
Well, and that's where I think that's where the national conversation is of like, yeah, but what is our responsibility? I mean, you could say the same thing of like, I can't make you, and maybe this isn't a great analogy, but I can't make you put a seatbelt on, but I can put at least a seatbelt in the car. Like I can't, I guess to that point, maybe I'm kind of, I don't know, undermining my own point, but like, let's make the helmets as safe as possible. And I think they've tried to do that, but ultimately, I guess at the end of the day, you can't make a player not play. I mean, maybe you can.
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly like they're supposed to be like, I think those are like the concussion protocols. Of
sure.
Like, yeah, no, if you're showing these signs, absolutely, we're not supposed to allow you on the field. And maybe those things just need to be broadened or something of like, if you do that, then like you're out for the season.
Right.
All right. You can come back next year.
Right.
But again, man, like it always goes back to money.
Sure.
There's so much money involved in all of this. Like you're never going to convince
right.
A GM of a team that that's what we need to do for safety. Like
right.
that's just not going to be a thing.
Well, and two, like
no, I've got investment in this. I got money riding on this. I've got investors behind me.
Yeah.
I can't bench this guy for the season because he had a rough hit. Like that's just never going to be a thing they're going to do.
Well, and I think like to me, it also like what you kind of said earlier about like the manifestation of the last 10, 15 years of this guy's life. You're thinking about like how many other super brutal hits has this person taken that we know nothing about,
right?
Whether it's in practice or whether it's this, that,
happened
and the other
in high school.
Yeah. But when you have like TJ Watt, is actually not only because he had an incident earlier this year, but here recently has kind of come out as a spokesperson in a way of like, we've got to look at this. Because he had a cardiac incident, very similar. I don't want to say very similar because I don't know, but in the same kind of vein of Hamlin, there was a cardiac incident in which his heart became, I think, arrhythmic. So like the rhythm of his heart was off, and he had his heart shocked back into rhythm so he could play the next game. And from my understanding, that was his choice, sure, but I mean he's not young, but he could still have a couple more years, and he's choosing to get out because of like what toll it's taken.
Right.
And maybe it is an individual player choice because like you're not going to stop this machine that's just making tons of money.
Right. The nuances that you start to dig in at that kind of level, it's like that, man, that's way beyond my comprehension of stuff, biology, football,
Right.
medicine. Like that,
Right.
that's just way beyond anything I can begin to psychology.
I will say this before we get into our last Benriach, the last two,
Yeah.
is that I think that these conversations, though, are needed and they're good. Because when you start to bring light to things that, maybe are cause for concern, that's when change started to happen. And don't get me wrong, I do not think NFL should go away. Because I recognize, man, it's fun.
Right.
It's fun to watch the game. It's fun. I haven't been to a game, but I know just because friends have been, it's fun to do that.
Right.
The game is fun. Games are fun. But
what you saw on that field that night was not fun.
Correct.
Yeah.
And how do we mitigate that?
Yeah.
How do we mitigate those things that detract from the fun?
Yeah.
And how do we shift a conversation away from brutality is fun to the game? I don't know.
They tried. I mean, they've tried making stuff, but they tried arena football.
Yeah.
And that's high adrenaline, high octane, high scoring.
Didn't work.
People didn't buy into it. There's something there too of no, this is just what we're used to.
Yeah.
And how do you ever break out of that? That's a tough thing. You could start a flag football league, touch football league. It ain't gonna get nobody gonna care.
Yeah. Well, you know what I do care about?
What do you care about?
I care about more Scotch.
All right.
All right, let's get into that.
Let's do it.
Let's transition over to the Smokey 10 and the Smokey 12.
Smokey 10, Smokey 12.
Did you pour them up?
I did.
Ooh.
We're ready to go.
All right, let's do it.
In your squat glass, you've got the 10.
Okay.
In the tall Glencairns, we've got the 12.
Okay.
Smokied up.
Do these look a little bit different color to you? Or is that just my...
I think it was still the same thing of the 10's a little lighter, 12's a little dark.
Gotcha. All right. Smokey 10, huh?
Smokey 10.
Squat glass.
Now, if I can be honest, too, when I saw Benriach for the first time in the store, it was one of the Smokies.
Oh.
I'm not sure if it was the 10 or the 12, but it was the Smokey that I was like, ooh, the Smokey one.
Only you can prevent?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thanks.
Smokey the Bear?
There it is. Shit.
That is correct
That
response.
smells really good.
I got a whiff. It is peaty AF.
Yeah, good amount of smoke.
Ooh.
Lovely amount of smoke.
Like steakhouse smoke.
Yeah,
Not campfire.
burnt ends.
Like burnt. Yeah.
Smoke.
Like smoker smoke. Ooh. There's something dark to
it's
that.
still got that same kind of honey
Yep. Floral.
Benriach that we had previously. It's all underneath it.
Oh, that is
It
delightful.
just enveloped in a smoky cloud of deliciousness.
It's like you took the best steak you could find and just threw it on a smoker, like a good offset smoker.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got listeners that know what we're talking about. Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
no, just give me a moment.
That's good. And this is coming in at bottle words. This again.
Yeah.
Oh no, different.
What?
You ready for this?
Yeah.
This 3 cask maturation is bourbon rum
Whoa.
in virgin oak
Interesting.
for
Versus
sublime smoothness.
bourbon sherry in virgin oak.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the 10 is also at 92.
Interesting.
All right. I like it.
Man, that is delight. I don't know if I want to sip it. I just want to smell it.
Yeah.
Give me a moment.
I'm gonna sip it.
Okay. Like right now?
Yeah.
All right. No sniffing. Time for sipping.
Delightful.
Whoa. I will say though, the barbecue smoky fades into that sweet. So it is peated. Absolutely. It is smoky.
Yeah.
But it's not smoky like a Lagavulin, a Lefroy, a Highland Park. To me, it's smoky in the way of like a honey barbecue sauce smoky.
Yeah. Yeah. And leaves that kind of an aftertaste.
Yeah. All right.
That's fantastic.
Shall we?
Wait, right off the bat.
Oh.
Of your memory of the 10, Smokey or the regular 10? The original 10.
Smoky.
Smokey. That's obviously the right call there.
Smoky.
All right. Now, again, going to the 12, the Smokey 12.
Yep.
Again, 3 cask matured.
Uh-huh.
You ready for this?
I am.
Bourbon, sherry, and marsala
Interesting.
for creamy
Okay,
smoothness.
can I just point out real quick though? You mentioned you are messing with the maturation. Like that's changing. That's changing a lot. The Smoky 10, their official notes: sublime smoothness layered with sunripe fruit, aromatic smoky sweetness, and toasted oak.
There you go.
Yeah.
Moving to the Smoky 12.
Okay.
Shade darker. However,
not
as
a
much
smoky
happening on the nose.
Yeah. Sweeter smoky.
Delightful nose, but not nearly as much smoke.
No. Is it because we've? Well, I'm gonna go back to it. The 10. Is it because we've acclimated? Nope.
I don't think so.
10 smoky still.
Smells great.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Definitely not
surprising.
smoky.
Not that I could pinpoint like Marsala.
No.
So I'm like trying to figure out what differences that might bring out. But definitely like fruitier,
Fruitier is
more
correct.
honey based than than the smoky.
Fruity honey, but like dried fruit soaked in honey.
But yeah, I think it relates more specifically with the regular 12.
I agree. All right, on the palate, it drinks a lot like the regular 12 too. Oh, but there's this like back end
Peat.
Wow.
Yeah, it's on
That's
the aftertaste.
interesting. Yep,
that is bizarre.
A little band-aidy to me. Ooh.
That's bizarre. I can't think of anything where I've ever thought like the front palate was so absent of peat, but it comes through on the back end aftertaste. That's crazy.
Can I point out that you and I both had that revelation at literally the exact same time?
Boom,
like, whoa.
There it is.
Yeah. Smoky 12, creamy smoothness layered with ripened fruit, aromatic smoke sweetness, and a warming oak spice.
I'll go with that. There is a creaminess to this. Mm-hmm. That is quite interesting.
I agree.
Creamy is a good word.
Like a cream corn creamy though. Like not like a Irish cream creamy. It's like a
not that thick.
Yeah.
Subtle cream.
All right. We need to make some decisions.
Okay.
What do you want to do? Just run back through them real quick?
Yeah. I'm really pleasantly surprised how different they all are.
Oh yeah.
Like you can tell they're all related, 1000%, but definitively different at the same time.
Exactly. Like that's that
cool.
the base of this is essentially the same.
Yeah.
But they're playing with, and this is what I love out of these kind of tasters, you're playing with distillate, or you're playing with maturation, excuse me.
Yep.
And you're playing with age.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah. And like I wouldn't call it necessarily like mash, but like the fact that like they've got peat.
Yep.
You got two that don't. That's cool.
Yep.
The triple cask is kind of throwing me off. Like I think that's a cool concept because it does. I think that's what's affecting these more than anything else.
Yep. I agree.
Which is cool.
All right, let's do this.
Yep.
I want to know, out of these four, what is your favorite nose?
I'm a bastard if I don't say the Smoky 10.
Mm-hmm.
I do love that, but I'm actually going to go back. I feel like I remember absolutely loving the regular 12.
Yeah.
I don't have much left in there, so it's different now, but I remember like smelling that the first time in comparison to the original 10, and that being like gorgeous.
Yeah. I don't disagree.
I don't have as much in my glass anymore, so it's not speaking to me the same way, but I remember that being like, whoa.
I don't disagree, but I think that Smoky 10, that's got it. It's got everything that the 10 had with a little bit of peat and that like slight fruit note. Yeah, that's delicious.
Yep.
To me, it's the Smoky 10 on the nose.
Yeah.
All right, what about on the palate?
It's only the original 10 that's the lower proof.
Correct.
The other three are all got a little extra kick, which is unfair. What I will say is like that 10, solid.
Absolutely.
Really, really good solid base. If that's like your introductory into this brand, like good
Perfect.
On you.
Perfect.
That's nice.
Yep.
I don't know how you don't say the Smoky 10.
On the palate?
Yeah.
See, I'm reversed.
It's really good.
I'm reversed. I think it's a 12 on the palate.
I'm
regular 12.
I'm right there with you. It's not the Smoky 12. Smoky 12, I might honestly say, is at the bottom for me.
I agree.
It's just nice because it's got that little extra proof pop that might just eke it out over the original 10, but the original 10 is really good too.
Yeah. Smoky 10's delicious. Okay. Overall, points overall, out of these four, if I could only have one more pour, I want the Smoky 10. That's the one I want.
It's going to depend on mood, night, because they're right there together. It's whether or not you want a little smokiness in your Scotch, or if you want that fruity.
I get it.
Port finish.
I know
which
me.
Is delightful.
And more often than not,
yeah,
I want the little smoky.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I like Lil Smokies. You like Lil Smokies?
I love them, man.
Oh,
Eat them up.
Yeah. Give me a whole bag.
Little bag. Yeah. They come in sacks. Smoky sacks.
Give me a Ziploc of Little Smokies.
I mean, it's
I'll eat
plastic.
that.
It's like
sure.
crap wrap.
Yeah.
You call it a sack.
I'll eat a whole Ziploc of Smokies.
Man. But, at the same time, like you've had 5 or 6. Like, I think that's what Scotch was for us originally. We're having so much bourbon and rye and things that when you get that peat pop, different,
elite.
elite.
Sure.
But like at this point in time, like over the past 2 months now, I've had so many scotches and things like that. Like that 12 with the finishes that they have on that, the sweetness and that berry note is freaking delightful.
Agreed.
And kind of setting itself apart.
Yeah. But the fun part is you try them all.
Yeah. Like, man, eye-opening. Benriach. I feel like we got to throw it against the Loch Lomond to see who's doing the better thing right now.
Well, we got to get a bottle.
Yeah.
Benriach.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on the to-do list now.
For sure.
Those are great.
Well, on that note.
On that note.
You got anything else?
No.
No, me neither.
Delightful.
I encourage everyone to go try and find this 4-pack or just grab you a bottle of Benriach and see what you think.
Totally.
I think the pro move is what you're doing right now. Pouring them all together and see what happens.
Yeah.
Don't got a whole lot.
Throw all them splashes together. See what kind of magical deliciousness is created in the Benriach.
Conglomeration.
Yeah.
Amalgamation.
The Benriach Infinity Gauntlet. We've added all the stones.
Greater than some of its parts.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Well, we want to know what you think about NFL and kind of like the conversations happening around not just football, but sports in general. How do we kind of rectify, talk about violence and yet love of the game and playing the game?
Is there a rectification? Or is that just like an unfortunate aspect of the game?
This is where we are.
Yeah.
Yep. We also want to know, what do you think about the Benriach? Whether you've had the 10, the Smokey 10,
The 12 or the Smokey 12?
let us know what is your favorite, or maybe there's one we haven't, a Benriach Smokey cask strength.
I'm sure there's something out there. Man, solid.
More importantly, you got to let us know.
Yeah. New blip on the radar.
For
Of what
sure.
to look out for.
You can get in touch with us through email. It's dreppinstone@gmail.com. You also can get in touch with us through social media.
On social media, it's always one word.
One word?
Dreppinstone.
Ooh.
DREPN Stone. Dreppinstone.
Oh.
Drepanstone.
Nope.
Dreppinstone.
Well, depending on where you are in your pores.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find us wherever social media you like to look at, because we're probably on there. See what we're doing, like what we're doing, share what we're doing, and we appreciate what you're doing.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Sounds good. You can support the podcast through our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/Dreppinstone. You can also support the podcast by rating Dreppinstone wherever it is you find great podcasts, Kyle, like this one.
Indeed, just like this one.
And you can support the podcast by telling one of your favorite friends,
Yep.
or just
Compadres.
some random person you met, honestly, that's fine too, about Dreppinstone.
Yep. They'll appreciate it.
They will.
Because
And
when you
so
enlighten
will
them,
you.
they're going to love you forever.
Yeah, exactly. Do an act of kindness. Just tell someone about Dreppinstone.
Yep.
Helps us out, helps them out, helps you out.
Yep.
A lot of fun.
Everybody gets helped.
Absolutely. Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
May your glass overflow.
And your ass never show. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers. Benriach. React, Ben.
I ain't never even been react.
You're Benriach.
Just jumping in, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Both feet. Go.
I made sure that the recording device is recording, because if it's not recording, it's a bad deal.
Right.
Yeah.
Crack-a-lack.
We'll just hold like a tiny little splashback.
Splash back.
Yeah. What's going on there?
Phone blowing up. Shite. Sorry. Cheers.
Shit's going right.
I like rye.
All right, before we get into the Smokey 10 and the Smokey 12.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about this week?
I want to talk about violence in football.
We talked about violence last week.
Okay. Then let's talk about kindness in football.
Conversation over.
Not a lot of kindness.
Is that a way to set that up?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Carol, can you shut the door for a second? She flicked me off.
Ah, no.
You lie.
Hi, sunshine.
She's talking to you, not me. Oh. That's, ooh.
Those don't have the same ring, do they?